Hello again, everyone. Today I want to talk to you about something we all do, and something that we do that helps us form opinions about our world, the differences and the similarities between things and each other, and that's stereotypes. Now, you might be thinking, oh, stereotypes, that's racist. But in and of itself, stereotypes are not racist. Now, let me preface this. I have to give my sister credit for this one. One of the classes she teaches is stereotypes are okay. It's when we allow stereotypes to cross over into discrimination and prejudice is where they become wrong. Now that has been a problem. But again, in and of itself, stereotypes or stereotyping is normal. We all do it. I mean, for example, this is a joke. Ready? It's a little racy, right? Two black guys walk into a haunted house. If you don't get that joke, I'm sorry for you, because we wouldn't. We would not walk into a haunted house. Ready for another joke? Right? This one's for the white people. Right? Two white guys don't go investigate a weird sound. Again, why is that joke funny? You should know, because they would. That's what stereotypes do. Stereotypes help us inform ourselves about the world around us. They're always rooted in some kind of truth. I mean, for example, Scooby-Doo would never work with four black kids. It just couldn't. If you had four black kids going to investigate people dressed like monsters, or maybe real ghosts, the answer would be, we wouldn't go do it. Same thing. It's actually, if you look at one of my favorite movies, Jurassic Park, the first Jurassic Park. One of the things my dad had always joked about and laughed about with his friends was when Samuel L. Jackson's Ray character volunteers to go across the compound where the velociraptors are out. He says, I'll go do it. I don't need a gun. I got my cigarette. Let's do this. And he dies. Like, no black man in particular is going to go out there and say, no, man. Mr. Hammond, this is your island. I'm good. But that's what stereotypes do for us. They're rooted in truth. Using the Scooby-Doo example again, you couldn't have a Scooby-Doo series with just 4 Asians. Why is that? Well, culturally speaking, if you had 4 Asians don't do demons and ghosts culturally. What they do have is they have set families or individuals who have been blessed or have been trained as monks or priestesses to handle the supernatural. Normal everyday people don't mess around with the supernatural. And to be more up to date for how Scooby-Doo would be, you'd have to go about 100 years in roughly in different Asian cultures for the story to even work. But then it'd be a little bit more serious. Even if you look at things today in Korean dramas that deal with supernatural issues or storylines, the main character is always linked to a monk bloodline or priestess bloodline. Now, this might sound a little out there to be talking about stereotypes and Scooby-Doo and jokes, the cultural jokes, but they're all rooted in some kind of truth. I mean, we talk about, again, you're gonna hear this in a lot of the black culture, black families make the jokes. White boys don't have any rhythm. Now, we know that's not true, right? There are people who have great rhythm who are white. We're black people who don't have any rhythm. But where does that rooted at? Because if you're Italian, coming from an Italian family, you know you guys love the dance. If you look at your traditional Anglo-Saxon descent, right, in white families that come from there, in a family get-together, if you're white, right, and you had that background, do you often get together with your family and dance? Probably not, unless you're from an Italian background, maybe an Irish background. But in black families, in Spanish families, when was the last time you were in a family get-together that dancing wasn't a key feature to the party? Even if it was just spontaneous, it's just a part of the culture. Again, if you look at Asian culture, again, my wife's Korean. Asians, or Koreans in particular, have K-pop. They have great rhythm. And yet, culturally speaking, in her family, never get together and dance. So you don't think of Asians as being dancers. But they have some great dancers. But it's stereotypes. Why? Because they're cultural truths that come from those communities. Again, my wife's Korean. And then the stereotype for Asians is that they're all good at math. They always do math. The parents are very strict. My wife did not adhere to that as in high school or when she was in college. She really didn't like school. She didn't like to study. And yet, when my 3-year-old was 2, I walked into the bedroom with her doing the times table with him. And her rationale for all that was that, well, he's grasped 2 times 2. 2 plus 2 equals 4, so he can do 2 times 2 equals 4. And I just thought to myself, great way for stereotypes, babe. He's half Asian, and he's doing math. Is it funny? Yes, it's funny, but it's true. Is it bad? No, it's not bad. But they all come down to truths. Truths within the community. If you're black, and you've heard the joke that black people like to talk and laugh during a movie, you can't deny that happens. It does happen. If you want to sit there and say that white people are always doing crazy stuff, you can't deny that. Skydiving, bungee jumping, I guarantee you, we didn't come up with that. But those are good things. Somebody had to decide, hey, let's go in this little box in the water and jump in with a shark. We learn things. They're stereotypes. They're good. Because they help us inform ourselves about culture and people. But when it comes to the negative stereotype, which most people, I would say, will argue what a stereotype is. Having just discussed what stereotypes are, where they come from, they're always rooted in truth. When we look at negative stereotypes, especially what's going on right now, are those informed through truth? If you're a young black man, are you feeding the stereotype that is associated with a young, angry black man? I don't even have to go in on it, because we all know what I'm talking about. We've seen them for the last month of protests and riots and looting. Are you feeding or encouraging that negative stereotype? If you're white, the white savior stereotype would make jokes. Says, always a white person has to save the poor colored people. Without you, we could do nothing. Are you feeding that stereotype? You have to ask yourself. Stereotypes inform us of our world. The sameness, the differences. Are you taking your stereotype and projecting it in a way that comes and allows people to discriminate? Because I can talk from personal experience. and knowledge of Asian culture, especially older Asians now, they see rioters and looters and they go, why are these kids doing this? They're always acting this way. When I heard that, I got mad. I started getting mad for a minute. But then I thought to myself, why am I getting mad? Because as far as these older Asians are concerned, they're looking at a bunch of young black kids trashing things and going nuts. And it is confirming a negative stereotype that they have on young black people, especially young black men. And yet we want to demand that people don't stereotype. When it comes to the police shouldn't stereotype people. Well, if you live in a community where those who commit crimes dress a certain way, act a certain way, and you emulate them, whether it's hair, fashion, or demeanor, could you honestly, I'm being honest, let's be honest with each other, could you honestly then hold somebody to account who judges you that you're like them? And you can argue that this is my style, this is how I express myself, but if you're expressing yourself the same way, those who commit crimes, now again, no matter what color skin they are, you then honestly cannot condemn somebody for judging you on appearance alone, because let's be honest, first impressions, right? You judge everybody on appearance. When I used to do sales back in Idaho, one of the things we were told was if someone comes in, and this was electronics, I worked for Best Buy, is that when someone comes in looking muddy, cowboy boots, hat, whatever, don't automatically throw them out. Not physically, but just don't go, whatever, you're not worth my time. Because in Idaho, those people tended to be dairy farmers. And those of you guys who don't know, dairy farming, very lucrative, making some money. Now, in New York, when I moved here, if someone walked in looking disheveled and muddy, it's because they were homeless. And you didn't bother trying to sell them anything because they had no money in the first place. Again, same stereotype, but because of location, you had to learn different things about people. Now, I want to keep this one short because I tend to ramble. But just keep that in mind, guys. We can complain about being stereotyped or complain about stereotypes. We have to remember they are always rooted in some truth. All right? Or they're rooted in an idea that came about. Now, we do have lies that come from stereotypes. Like when you had in the 30s, 40s, the 50s of that black men were raping white women, right? There's a stereotype that was pushed by a lie, right? There were a lot of lying going on that became a stereotype. So we can't deny that there are stereotypes that can be rooted in racism. But again, that's when you allow stereotypes to cross into the realm of discrimination.